It's been such a chaotic last few days when it comes to MLB free agency. Like, the amount of signings that we've witnessed is just fantastic. People like Devin Williams, Edwin Diaz, Robert Suarez, Kyle Schwarber finally getting out of the market. But I feel like a name that once free agency finally opened, we talked about a lot, and we just didn't know specifically on where he was going. If you haven't guessed who I'm talking about the polar bear, the Mets player. Let me rephrase that. Ex-Met player. I'm talking about Pete Alonso. For the longest time, I think that we were talking before even the offseason began, we were talking, hey, are the Mets ever going to have an agreement with Pete Alonso? Is there going to be a long contract going? And, well, that obviously didn't happen, which is a little surprising because for a small part of me, I did think that the Mets were going to figure out and extend Pete Alonso because he did have a good season in 2025. Now, guys, before I continue the video, if you guys can do me a huge favor and subscribe. I am an upcoming creator that is really passionate about baseball and wants to continue to do this because I do have fun making these type of baseball related videos. If you guys do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe, and comment. Anyways, let's get back to it. Well, if you guys haven't heard already, the Baltimore Orioles did end up signing Pete Alonso to a 5-year contract with them. Now, a lot of people were surprised, and honestly, I was a little surprised when I found out that he did get signed to the Baltimore Orioles, because when you were talking about other teams, I don't think the Orioles were ever in my list of places where I thought Pete Alonso would end up. But either way, it's a great addition for the Orioles, don't get me wrong here. Now, I will say it is a little surprising when you look at the Orioles' actual roster. You have right now 2 first basemen in your roster in Ryan Mountcastle and also Kobe Mayo. Ryan Mountcastle didn't have the best of years. He did struggle a little bit, and Kobe Mayo was called up in August. So he did play a few games in 2024. He came in August 2025. He didn't look the greatest, but there was a few things that did look good from him. So at one point I would have thought, hey, maybe they would give a chance to Kobe Mayo, see what he could do in the 2025 season. Oh, and they also have Ryan Mountcastle. So there was a few options for the Orioles, but they ultimately decided, hey, let's go spend that money. Let's go get Pete Alonso for 5 years, which Pete Alonso is an absolutely fantastic acquisition. But then you have to think, is Kobe Mayo or is Ryan Mountcastle going to leave the Orioles? Or what are they going to trade him for? And realistically, if you really think about it, if you're the Baltimore Orioles at this point in time, you have a really solid roster. Like, you literally have so many talented, insanely good players on your roster. If you look at the roster, Gunnar Henderson, you have Jordan Westberg, now you have Pete Alonso, you have Adley Rutschman, you have the newly acquired Taylor Ward, you have the once #1 prospect in MLB, Jackson Holliday. Although he hasn't lived up to the hype that he initially had when he was in the prospect list and he got called up, he has been looking better. It's a lot better of an improvement than he did have in his first year. His second year was pretty good. He looked pretty solid, and he's only going to get better from here because he's still such a young player. Now that we've talked about the offensive side is there's absolutely nothing to worry about. But when you look at the pitching, that's where, the concerns are coming to mind. That's the biggest issues that the Orioles do have. They have some solid, all right players, I guess you could say, and like Dean Kramer, Trevor Rogers, Tyler Wells. They're solid, right? They're solid, but they're not necessarily the best if you really think about it. Now, going back to the amount of first base people they have on the roster with Kobe Mayo and Ryan Mountcastle, this would be an opportunity. I feel like this is where the Orioles are starting to head to, and this is where they're gonna make a decision. They're gonna trade eventually these players to see if they could get another starting pitcher to add to the rotation. Now, I mean, realistically, yes, you could trade those players, and they eventually will trade those players. Because I would assume so. There's way too many first base players. But when it comes to pitching, somebody that I think that they should target, or they have quite a few options, to be honest. There has been a few people that have already gotten signed, that being people like Dylan Cease, Brandon Woodruff. They're already out of the market, but there's still some great product out there. If you look at it, we still haven't found a new home for Framber Valdez. Zach Gallen is still on the market. Shout out to Bob making that fake report. Not fake report. He led Cubs fans on to thinking that Zach Gallen had signed, and then it turns out it was never true. Anyways, let's go back. I thought it was funny. Anyways, let's get back to the topic. So yeah, you have Zach Gallen, you have Framber Valdez, you have Chris Bassett. You have a few options to pick from when it comes to pitching. There's still quite a few free agents, so I would think it would be fantastic. And I'm very excited to see what the Baltimore Orioles are going to do for the rest of the free agency. I do believe that they will sign another starting pitcher because that is where they're really weak at. Now, I think in all honesty, on the bright side, you look at everything that's going on with the Orioles. I think it was a really upsetting year last year with the amount of disappointment that had come from the Orioles. I mean, they had a great 2024 season that ended really shortly with a really short playoff. They barely did anything. It was really upsetting. And you know, people were excited, hey, 2025 is going to be even better. It's going to go great. And then they lost Corbin Burns, and then they had a really terrible season. And honestly, I was surprised on how bad the Orioles looked last year. It was very shocking. But with all the young talent that they have and, you know, the new acquisition with Pete Alonso, I think that this team is going to be a top contender, and it makes the division that they're in right now absolutely competitive. Like, insanely competitive. Like, you got the Toronto Blue Jays, who just went to a World Series against the Dodgers and added an acquisition in Dylan Cease. You got the New York Yankees. You got the Boston Red Sox, who look absolutely fantastic and added Sonny Gray to their roster. Now, you also, the Boston Red Sox were trying to get Pete Alonso to sign with them. But at the end of the day, he did choose the Orioles, which is quite interesting. But Boston Red Sox were also in on him, but the offer just wasn't as good compared to the Baltimore Orioles. It was a little bit more of a short-term contract compared to Baltimore Orioles offering 5 years for Pete Alonso. And you also got the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays has one of the most underrated pitching roster. I feel like nobody talks about how crazy their pitching is. Like, their pitching's absolutely fabulous. Like, it's fantastic. Like, they have such a good roster. And then, of course, you got the Baltimore Orioles. So, this is going to be a really good season. Division's going to be difficult. But, hey, Orioles, you got this. I totally believe in you guys. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. If you guys could do me a huge favor, subscribe, like, comment. If you guys like MLB content, I am posting multiple videos a week. If you have any suggestions on what you guys would like to see next, I'm absolutely open to ideas. So once again, please put them in the comments. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.